Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Knowledge. Welcome to Brews and Reviews, and today I'm reviewing IDK and Friends 2 by IDK, and I am sipping on a Roughtail Frickin Hazer Beams. That's from Roughtail Brewery Company in Oklahoma City, and it's coming in at 5.5%. And I had to show love to my home state because on this project, IDK is showing love to his hometown. So let's get right into this review. IDK and Friends 2 serves as the sequel to IDK's 2018 mixtape, IDK and Friends, and it also serves as the soundtrack to the Kevin Durant produced movie, Basketball County, which brings up the question, do we still hate Kevin Durant in Oklahoma? The answer is no. We pity him. He could have won that championship here, and everyone would have said he was the dude that got us there, but instead he jumped on the bandwagon with Steph and those guys, and his championships have an asterisk. But let's ignore all that and get into this album. Interestingly, the movie and the album are about Prince George's County, Maryland, which has produced a lot of great basketball talent. Or should I say talent overall, because that's also where IDK is from, hence the connection and why he felt he should do this project. The album kicks off with Omerta, and this is just a monologue intro. It's not an actual song, but in the intro he asked, do you know what Omerta means? And for the record, it basically means not snitching. It's a code to not give evidence to the authorities. So after the brief speaking intro, the album actually kicks off with the hard piano keys of Riley. There's a guest on every track on this album, hence the name IDK and Friends, and his first guest is XanMan, who comes in with a ton of energy with a really aggressive flow over this trap beat. His energy sucks us right into the album and keeps it moving because he handles the chorus also. IDK comes in the next verse and he holds his own on it, but he's a little bit outshined by his first guest. Mazel Tov is the next track, and this is the single from the EP, and it's easy to hear why as that beat comes on. It's got a flute or some kind of wind instrument loop over a hard trap beat. It's just really catchy, and this is head nodding music. IDK's flow has some depth on this track, which makes up for what his lyrics lack in depth. He's mostly just bragging about how much money he has, although I would like to call out one specific line where he's calling out JanSport backpacks. He says, you was living in the dorm room, never ever strapped. JanSport backpack. A little call out to the past, so that's cool. AP Ferg also kicks a pretty good flow on this, and so far, his friends that IDK brought along are really shining. Even though Mazel Tov is the single, the next track, Square Up, is the standout to me. This is a great track. I love the vocal sample harmonies on the instrumental combined with the booming bass, and on the beginning of the track, he references CP3, which is somebody that we respect and like a lot more in Oklahoma than Kevin Durant. He's got a good history with us, even going back to when he was in New Orleans. They used to play here after Hurricane Katrina, and that's what showed that Oklahoma could support a full-time basketball team. Lyrically, on this track, the substance is still a bit lacking, but sometimes when you listen to music like this, it doesn't matter because the beat will get you so hype, and this is for a certain aesthetic. While I'm hip-hop knowledge, I love lyrics. Sometimes I just want to put on a good beat and hear somebody flow good over it, and that's what IDK is doing with this track. Even though his lyrical substance is not there, he does have a line about Doja Cat and her sexual prowess, if you will, and that's the second line like this about Doja Cat from The Year. The other was from Freddie Gibbs, but like I said, the real highlight is the instrumental on this thing. The beat change-ups are really nice, especially the breakdown of the beat at the end of the song. So the instrumental and the structure of the song are really what this is about, and we'll get this one on your playlist. Bulletproof is the next track, and when I was looking at the track list before listening to any of this is the song I was excited about the most. Why? Because it has one of the standout artists of the year, last couple years really, Denzel Curry on this. Unfortunately, when you actually listen to it, he's underutilized. He doesn't get a verse. He just does the chorus. But the chorus is one of the best things on the song. He just has a couple lines on that, and he kills it like we know Denzel always does. He really makes his presence felt in those two lines with a unique rhythm that he presents. The beat is also nice, and this was co-produced by IDK and the production team of F&Z. Now, F&Z recently contributed to the Kanye track Wash Us in the Blood, so they're getting a lot of exposure off of that right now. The lyrics on this, again, are lacking in substance. It's mostly IDK and his friend Maxo Cream just spitting gun rhymes. So it really is just the chorus and the great beat that make this a good song. End of discussion makes me want to skip to the end of the track and go on to the next one. This is Skippable. It has a very indistinct, effect-laden chorus by PnB Rock. His verse is also sing-songy and effect-laden, and you can't really tell where the chorus starts or begins and the verse ends because there's no distinction between the two. They both just sound like computerized music from somebody who can't really flow at all. It sounds really weak next to the previous track and the good chorus that we got there by Denzel Curry. IDK also uses too much effects on his voice, something he doesn't always do, which is great. And I guess he was trying to match PnB Rock style on this, but it didn't work for him either. Although IDK's verse is a little bit better than PnB Rock's, it's still not enough to save this song. This is a throwaway track. Tooth Fairy has a nice minimalist beat with some hard bass, and we actually hear some of the best wordplay that we've heard on the whole album. It's good to hear him, even if he's not lyrically astounding and he's not going to give you something so deep, at least come with the wordplay and something that we can hit repeat to hear what you were saying, which he does on this with lines like a tooth under the pillow, I got money when I sleep. When I ball, it's a net, Kyrie and KD. When I ball, it's a check, it's my feet, it's a screech. When you ball, it's a call, it's a foul, it's a reach. That's a nice basketball metaphor talking about somebody trying to show off when they can't even really do it. In addition to the wordplay, his flow on this is really good too, and it's a shame that this is the shortest track on the album because as an MC, this shows the most of what IDK can do. 495 is a reference to I-495, and that's the interstate that runs through the DMV and through Prince George's County, where all of the guys on this album are from, as well as the basketball players that the documentary is about. And although I said he wasn't lyrically in depth, he's trying a bit here. From the very beginning of the track, he's talking about some of the recently deceased hip-hop brethren, where he says, R.I.P. Bankroll, R.I.P. Nipsey, R.I.P. Smoke Dogg, R.I.P. Jimmy, R.I.P. Pop Smoke, that shit got me stressed, R.I.P. XXXXX. That's a nice tribute calling out everybody that died too soon and these young talents that could have been with us to make great albums in the future. This track has multiple MCs on it, and all of them come with high energy. This is the true posse cut. Even though every track on the album has a feature, this has so many, and it has that true posse cut feel where you feel like it's a competition and each guy is trying to outdo the guy before him. There's a little controversy on this song because there's a producer tag from Juicy J at the beginning that's actually a sample of Logic, and Logic and IDK have beef, so he didn't like Logic ending up on his album, and he tweeted out that if he would have known it was him, he would have re-recorded that tag. I don't know if there's any hard feelings between him and Juicy J, but he didn't like that Logic sample ending up on his album. Live For It mellows it out after the previous hype track. Wale comes on. He has a weak feature. Not really a Wale fan, although he did have a pretty good guest spot on Westside Gunn's French Toast earlier this year. And I did like Wale when he first came out and those Seinfeld mixtapes that he was doing, but since then he's fallen off a bit. I do understand the feature because he's from DC, but he does bring the energy down a little too much on this. His flow also sounds a little bit off. In Wale's defense, this track may be just a little too awkward to flow to because when IDK comes on, his flow also sounds a bit off. So I don't think that this beat was the best to showcase these two MCs, especially when we have great songs that IDK's flow has fit into perfectly on previous tracks. I know they were trying to mellow it out, trying to make something more reflective for the last track on the album. There's a bit of a beat, but not a real drum section. And it's cool to take the energy out at the end of the track, but not to completely sabotage the MC's flow, which is what this instrumental does. Overall, this is a nice, fun listen. The flows are adequate, and more importantly, IDK and just about every guest come with really high energy. You could see an NBA highlight reel running over most of these tracks, but lyrically, there is no substance. There's nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, that's truly astounding lyric-wise. Being that there's no real substance, even though these tracks get you hype, this is not something that will last long term, but it is good for the moment. That being said, I'm going to give it a 7 out of a 12-pack because it's a good buzz for now. Thank you for watching my review of IDK's IDK and Friends 2. If you like this video, go ahead and hit like now, or let me know how you felt in the comments section. I will respond. You can also hit subscribe that's popping up right next to me if you want to hear more hip-hop and hops related content. There's also additional videos that I've done from the past. Check those out. And until I see you next time, keep buzzing.